Welcome to Simple Choices. I'm Michelle Welch. What creates a culture of wellness in schools? How is our community helping to make this happen? Our Lincoln community is one of the few in the nation that are making strides with school-age children, actually reversing the trend of obesity. Lincoln Public Schools is on a step-by-step journey toward building a steady stride in wellness. As the Lincoln Public Schools District Wellness Facilitator, I have an immense number of partners critical to our success, both from within the schools and in our community. Throughout this segment, examples of your important school and community partners will appear on your screen. One of these community partners is Dr. Bob Rauner of Partnership for a Healthy Lincoln, and he's here with me today. Welcome, Dr. Bob. We're going to talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the data that was really presented to our community. You may have received something like this in your mail or noticed that came in the mail that really talked about the fact that we're seeing a decrease in obesity. Talk to me a little bit about the data that you're working with me in setting this in place.
Yeah, well, about 5 years ago, we started tracking obesity and fitness in our schools. We have K-8 numbers from the last 4 years. And the exciting thing that we're seeing is the last 4 years in a row, we're seeing decreases in obesity and increases in aerobic fitness. Okay. And on top of that, we're seeing them across socioeconomic strata, also even in the minority population. So it's happening across the community.
Talk to me a little bit about what are you seeing that you think is making this happen?
I think the biggest thing is that it's a broad focus. When I'm in the community, almost everybody wants to tell me their theory of child obesity. And it's usually this one thing. Is it video games or pop or portion sizes? And the answer is they're all partly right. Those are factors, but there's multiple factors. Unlike smoking, it was just cigarettes. There's only one thing really to look at, but with obesity, it's a whole host of different things. And so doing one thing wouldn't fix it. And so one of the things that's helped is that we keep getting that critical mass where more and more things are changing. Everything from school lunch to more kids walking to school to people not drinking as much pop to changing some of the school fundraisers to activity breaks in the classroom. And so it's the fact that I think we've got this critical mass, and what you're seeing is a steady decline across the community because of that.
Talk to me a little bit about what we're seeing as far as academic ties to our fitness and obesity data.
Okay. Well, one of the things that changed, there was so much pressure from No Child Left Behind that people really fought more math and reading, which does help a little bit. But the problem is that they found that making kids less active impairs their ability to learn. When you're not up and moving, you tend to lose your attention span. And literally just being more aerobically fit is one of the strongest associations we're finding in academic achievement, almost as strong as the differences on socioeconomic status. And so the studies are showing everything from if you do calisthenics in the morning, you'll be more likely to learn a lesson plan. If a teacher is going to teach you something in the next 20 minutes, having gotten up, moved a little bit, sat back down, that little break makes a difference. Having exercise that day, having eaten lunch that day, or breakfast that day makes a difference. And so we're now getting to the point where not only is there a strong association, they're actually proving that when you do things, it does make a difference in how well the kids learn.
So is it more about what you're seeing as far as fitness and academics, or is it more about obesity and academics?
Well, actually, when you first take a glance, it looks like the kids who are more obese don't do as well. But actually, once you control for socioeconomics and fitness, there is no effect, actually. And so the weight doesn't have that big a difference, which is good because some of us, not all of us are going to be a perfect weight. And that's okay. Fitness will basically tend to ameliorate almost all of those things. You're even seeing studies on adults, for example, where your weight doesn't have that big effect as long as you control for fitness. And so that's good news for a lot of people, that even if you can't get to what you think is ideal, being aerobically fit tends to fix a lot of those things, and it helps just about everything, not just academics, everything from sleep to stress to being able to get along with your peers, for example. We've had anecdotal stories from principals say that when they reinstituted recess, they had less behavioral referrals to the office. And I think some of us as parents kind of knew that when your kids get gnarly, one of the things to do is kick them outside for a while and let them run off the nasties, and they usually do better after that.
Yeah. So, well, and those are all pieces that I think are important for both schools to know about, but then also for families to recognize is how much fitness plays a big piece in this, and that it really isn't as much about the scale as what we were maybe thinking when these first efforts started. So talk to me a little bit about what the community partners play in this process.
Okay. Well, part of it's the schools is where we're starting, and people always have these things like, well, is it the schools or is it the parents? Well, the answer is both, actually. But we started in the schools because that's kind of a captive audience. They're all there, 37,000 of them every day from about 9 to 3 or 8 to 4 or whatever. So that's the place to start, but that's not it. And we've branched out to other things, community learning centers, for example. There's some undesignated free time where we could change some things with no curriculum issues after school, and kids that are at those community learning center programs. That's made a big difference. There's neighborhood organizations, there's places like Lighthouse and F Street Rec, where other kids go outside of the schools, so that if you can change things there, you can make a difference. We've had partners working before kids get to school in the preschool setting. So Teach a Kid to Fish has a Healthy Choices, Little Voices program that actually gets some of those habits even started in preschool. And the earlier you start them, the better. Right. And then we have people even in the minority community. So for example, El Centro de las Americas, Roger Garcia and Roy Rivera have been pushing out some things to the Hispanic community, because that's one of our ethnicities that has the highest obesity rate. So you really want to see some improvements there. Or the things they're doing at the Malone Center with the African American community. So you really just have to go to the people where they are, start with the schools, but then branch out from there.
So what's the bigger message to parents right now?
Well, one of the good things is I think a lot of things that go in the schools go home to the parents. Right. They come home on the Friday folders. Some of the challenges that you've done, there's a family participation component, and that's been the way to reach all those parents. They have to be involved, but how do you reach them? Right. Well, that Friday folder actually is a good way to do that. Or some of the school wellness fairs. Some of those have brought the kids in and actually had the parents run the fitness test with the kids. At Leffler, they will run they had a deal where they ran the pacer with the kids. They've even tried to get Steve Joel, for example, to run the pacer, and that's good to see everybody getting involved with this, that this makes a difference.
Okay. Talk to me about our community as a whole. How can they help us in this process?
Well, one thing coming up is, of course, we're coming up on summer. We had a little bit of a debate 2 years ago from the PE teachers were the kids more fit when they came back from summer break, or were they more fit after a year of school? So we actually answered that by testing the kids at the beginning of school, at the end of school. It turned out they actually got more fit during the school year, and they lost ground over the summer. And so we need to find ways to not lose ground over the summer. And obesity shows the same thing. The kids get more obese over the summer because parents are often working, nobody's there to watch the kids. What are they doing? If they're just hanging out playing video games and they're eating junk food and pop, there's where your problem is. And so what can we do over the summertime to get rid of the junk food, get kids more active, whether it's going to the local rec center, being involved in youth sports, the swim team. I think the bike challenge will be really huge this year, and we really want to try to do some tie-in to get the kids out participating in the bike challenge. Lincoln won the national bike challenge last summer, which is awesome. And Lincoln really wants to go for a repeat on that. Well, maybe we can get those kids out biking on the bike paths more.
Right. I also hear people in the community talking about how the little events that they're holding in their community, whether if it's a small group or bigger groups, that they're kind of thinking twice about what items that they're providing at those events. And so I think those also kind of play a piece in that, or even what the activities are. Maybe they're more movement activities than what they've been. So it's exciting to see those things happening. Yeah. So, well, any last things that you think maybe we didn't include?
Well, I think some things we've expanded to both the beginning and the end of life, actually. We've gotten things started even in the prenatal setting with education programs for women with breastfeeding, for example. That actually has a big effect, surprisingly, more than people would think. So the fact that I think our breastfeeding rates are increasing in Lincoln. This year we've actually brought in aging partners, so that as people are getting older, one of the things most associated with independence is being able to walk places, to be out there and moving. And so they actually have some walking interventions, for example, to help balance, to prevent falls. That also makes a big difference. So I think we've really covered the full age spectrum now.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming in today and talking to me a little bit about what's happening in our community and how slowly but surely we're making that progress in helping to reverse obesity for our kids and just to be a healthier community overall.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What's our best news? It's working. Wellness is never as simple as changing one element of life drastically. A wider approach is the answer to why our community is ahead of the curve and seeing success in becoming healthy. Congratulations to you all for your part that you play in helping us create one of the healthiest communities in the nation. If you'd like to learn more and stay up to date on happenings, feel free to like LPS Wellness on Facebook, follow at LPS Wellness on Twitter, or check out our webpage at lps.org/wellness. We also have segments regularly right here on Channel 10 Health, the Mayor's Health Channel. For more information on Partnership for Healthy Lincoln, go to healthylincoln.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle Welch. See you next time.